And this is the algorithm to have your business be able to forward invest in the future success of the business.
So prior to the C word and everything happening, we hosted events for the utility industry, and we were on conferences, and we were doing over $1 million. Our business got destroyed. For the last 2 years, we rebuilt our business, but there's still a little bit of money sitting out there for the utility business. It's a 7-figure business, and we're building a new company. So now, what financial points should we be looking at? We're basically $1 million in revenue right now. What financial indicators should I be looking at as we rebuild this company? And let me go back. I was that guy who was buying the boats and the cars and the motorcycles and spending that money.
Not on my
and I wish I knew what I learned from you guys in the last 2 years. I mean, I wish I had this knowledge 30 years ago. And thank you. What numbers should we be looking at as we're rebuilding this thing?
So look here, it's simple. Awesome. So yeah, first of all, appreciate you guys. And congratulations on rebuilding your business after it got devastated. Here's what I would tell you. The decisions you need to make is, and we cover this extensively. I talk a little bit about it at the 360. Jeff talks about it deeper at the 360. And then we go really deep into it during the 2-day finance essentials. And this is the algorithm to have your business be able to forward invest in the future success of the business. It's exactly how I build all my businesses. It's how I generate my revenue, and I tithe a certain amount of money. First, I want to get 30 days of money in the bank. Then I want to get 90 days of money in the bank. Then 180 days worth of money in the bank. Then a year. So I take my expenses, and my target is to generate enough revenue while I'm in any given cycle so if I start my business from scratch, I want to generate enough money that if, say, I started my business and I have 90 days of cash and that's it, then my first target is to generate a month of cash. That buys me 1 more month of staying in business. I have 3 months to generate enough profit that I can stay in business the 4th month. Once I start making enough money to be in business for the 4th month, now I want to generate enough free cash that I can stash it away to have 90 days of being in business. So I take my monthly expenses. I try to make enough revenue that I can bank enough money that I can reserve up to 90 days of cash over my current expense. Once I do that, I'm going to shoot for 180 days. I'm going to play that game until I have 1.5 years of money. Now, for us, when we launched Cardone Ventures, it was a startup. I mean, we were exactly 1 year, 12 months into the cycle when COVID hit, and Grant called me and he's like, dude, what do we need to do? How much money do I need to send you? What do we need to do? Who do we need to get rid of? What do we need to? And I'm like, all that's under control. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I mean, we just started this thing. I go, Grant, I've already reserved. We had 7 months of cash based on our burn rate. And so I talk about this extensively in the emergency business response, how you communicate to your team in real time, where you're at, what they need to do, what you need to do as a business, and then what process you go through to eliminate cost if revenues aren't increasing and you start burning money. And so when you have that algorithm, building a business is so much easier, but nobody teaches this because they don't understand it. And there's no one teaching it. And the people that do know it use it for themselves. So I just saw a massive opportunity to bring this education to people like you guys, but that's your game. And then you'll know what to invest in. If you had 30 days of cash, I'd say keep going until you have 90 days. When you hit 90 days, I'd say, okay, now between 90 and 180 days, what are out of the 3 investment criteria that Natalie laid out, what do you need in order to start growing the business? And then I would invest in that asset or that cost structure. And then I play the game again and rebuild those cash reserves. And then I'd play the game again. So you have rules in place for how you make those investment decisions. And they're made after you've got the discipline and you've got the confidence that you can generate the money. And then you play it again, you play it again, you play it again. And what happens is your business gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Your cash reserves get bigger, bigger and bigger, but you become much more intentional. So when you hire somebody and you're like, okay, I'm hiring you. Someone asked a question. Hey, when you have CSRs and they don't generate revenue, how do you factor the 500,000 revenue per head? And I tell them, if you're going to hire an employee, you need to create $500,000 of revenue per head. Because if I'm going to hire somebody, they're going to take a load off of my plate, which means I can do more. Instead, the owner finally gets to where they've got 5 or 6 people and they go out and buy a boat and they start hanging out on the lake because they feel like, oh, I don't have to do it anymore. That's the wrong thing to do because you're crushing your own momentum.